Still trying.
I watched you go from a window down below, and just hear it say it's the last time you'd walk away. Why does anybody ever go? I don't know. I don't know. Why couldn't I just raise my voice to say, don't go, please stay for at least one more day.
Hello and welcome. This is The Art of Giving Up, your podcast for giving up, well, bad days, bad habits, bad friends, bad relationships, and sometimes just giving up because life is too hard. And as always, I'm your host, Steven. And I want to thank you, yes you, for joining me on this, my journey of self-improvement, of growth, and of learning.
And you know a book cries for just one more of your poems.
I was recently asked about this that I do. And if you are listening to this right now, then that means that you've been with me probably for a while. And you know that I've been doing this for well over 100 episodes now, something like 115 episodes. And I've also started doing another podcast called Was That in Good Taste, which of course you can find on iTunes and Spotify and all those things, with my co-host Chandler Phillips. And you know, I've been doing this for a while, and it really started as a way for me to do something that I've always wanted to do, which was, I don't know, I like podcasts, right? That's what I liked, so I just wanted to do a thing that I liked. But someone asked me, what is your plan? And of course I responded, well, you know, there's really no plan. I'm really just trying to do this, try to get better at it, you know. And they kept going, but you have to have a plan. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you know, I just really like this. If I don't make any money at it, I was like, but you know, you have to have some kind of goal. And I was like, well, you know, I have short-term goals, but I don't. And, you know, I've definitely spoken about passion before. I've spoken about passion, my lack of passion, or the feeling that I kind of have in myself where I feel like I'm not really passionate or motivated to do anything, which could be just a result of some sort of, I don't know, my anxiety or just laziness, you know. So I never really feel driven. And I've spoken before about the fact that I really want to be like those people who see their heroes and they really just want to be them. And when you're a child, I think I did a whole episode about this. Like when you're a child and you see these people, you really, really want to be Brett Favre or whatever. You really look up at astronauts and you see someone doing something that you really want to do. And I always like, I missed that. I never had that. I never had the capability of doing that. Life never allowed me to have that. And that's a lie. The guy that I was speaking to, he was like, you want to be like the next, oh boy, I forget who he said. I don't know. I thought it was some big radio name. He was like, you want to be that person, don't you? And I was like, no, I don't. And I think I'm always so afraid to be like, because, you know, it's like, well, you know, the podcast market is saturated and I don't actually have any skill and blah, 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 blah. So I don't feel confident enough to say yes. Yes, I want to be the next Howard Stern. Yes, I want to do this. And if you asked me if that's what I wanted to do, then I would say no. But after doing some introspection, I have determined that that is a lie. I've always loved radio. And I know I've spoken about it before, but I've always loved radio in some form of fashion, and I don't remember when it began. But I remember, as I'm pretty sure I've told the story before, when Radio Disney first launched, right? And I remember, I don't know how I heard about it, but I remember hearing about it, and I ran the day that it was going to come on, the day, the hour, and I went to the TV in the living room that had a tuner, and I put it on AM 1560, but I had to like wiggle the knob a little bit, and I listened to it, and I used to steal the audiobooks, on tape and on CD. Harry Potter, I used to listen to it going to sleep, and I used to listen to all these books in addition to me reading books, and I used to listen to like K-Rock, but then when K-Rock got taken over and it got changed like to Free FM, which is a talk radio station, I listened to it religiously. I used to listen to Stern right before he left for Sirius. I used to listen to Opie and Anthony, David Lee Roth. I used to listen to The Afternoon Guy. I used to listen to everything. I was there the very first day that it transitioned. And the morning that it transitioned back to K-Rock, I got up early in the morning and I listened to it, Free FM sign off back to K-Rock. And of course, the story that I told about living on my ex-girlfriend's drunk uncle's couch and keeping the earbuds like the in her like iPod, her original like iPod Classic. It wasn't even called the iPod Classic at the time. Like in my ears, and like curled up on the bed and like listening to like listening to the IGN to the EGM podcast at the time, because I was really into IGN at the time, and listening to like the Computer Gaming World, and that's actually where I got the hello and welcome, which Ryan Scott, who used to work for EGM of the Geek Box podcast, he still starts it off like that, and that's where I stole that from. I've always loved these things, so I wanted to do it, and I think that the reason why when people ask me like, what is it that I really want to do with this, I say nothing, is because I have no skill and or talent, and I look at the Kind of Funny guys over at Kind of Funny Games and Kind of Funny YouTube, and you see like you see Greg, and you see a lot of people kind of left, but when EGM originally fell, this is like a whole thing. But I remember in 2009, it was a winter day. It was absolutely frigid, and the snow was up to like my ankles. I used to love to put on my big coat, and I had to walk over to the food stamp center, but it was in the wrong place because I'm dumb. And I went, and I went to download my weekly, I went to download the One Up Show, and from what they used to do, and I went to download my podcast, and it wasn't there, right? And what had happened is that the company had closed down. It got bought by IGN, and then all the people made their old, so Arthur Gies and Arthur Gies, oh my lord. Oh, I'm having like a little brain fart with people's names right now. I feel so bad. Oh no. And I grew up with these people. Whatever. So they made the Rebel FM, and then Ryan Scott, he made the Geek Box and the Comedy Button with Scott Bromley and everybody else that was there, and they made their own things, and I followed them, right? And when Greg from IGN, he and a bunch of his friends left, and I remember listening to the PlayStation podcast they used to do, and time for some news. I used to love listening to it. Even when I didn't have a PlayStation, I would log in and listen, and I felt like I knew them. And they left, and they started their own thing, and they have their studio in one of their apartments, and it's nice, and it has like a green screen and a beautiful table and stuff. And I tell people I don't want to do that, but I'm lying. I want to do that. And I know there's a million podcasters and a million people with things in their house who are more talented than me. These people were writers, and I'm not going to say they were mega successful, but they had real jobs, and they produced content on a regular basis. They wrote, they came to work on time, they finished school, they did all the things that I cannot do. And so when I think about doing these kind of things, I don't, because I cannot do it. Okay? That's the reality. That's the truth. All right? I suck. I am a sucker, okay? But you know what? Ooh, love that deep breathing there. I still want to do it. And I think I'm tired of telling myself that I don't want to do it, that I can't do it. Because I know that I can't. And I know that I'm going to fail. I know that I'm going to do this. And nothing's going to come of it. But I have to try. I really have to try, you know. But the thing is that I don't really want to be... Now, I mean, the reason I mentioned Stern, like wanting to be Stern, is because for 3 decades, and by the way, the whole shock jock thing, people really, really think of him like that, you know. But he's definitely transitioned well into modern times, not just because he's, you know, I don't know, been around for a long time, it's because he's very talented at what he does. And he's gone from being like the shock jock kind of person to being more of like the kind of Oprah of radio, you know, his great interviews. And like Howard Stern is a force for a reason, you know. But I don't want to just be Stern. I don't want to just be Rogan. I want to be better than all of them. I want to do my own thing, and I want to be great at it. I want to be a personality that people look up towards. I want to be a personality, and I want to create content, and I want it to be good. I want to have fun doing it, and I want to have soundproofing and good equipment, and I want to do something that I love to do, which is never shut up, because I don't know how to shut my mouth, and I need to turn that into a skill. And I'm getting too old and too tired to stand on my feet every day. But I'm not smart enough, and I'm not funny enough. I'm not talented enough. I don't have the focus, and I don't have the power of will. I have none of those things. 0 of those things. But I think that I have to start somewhere. And for the 80th time of me saying, I think that here is probably now. That here is probably right this second, where now that I've started the podcast, now that I've continued to do it, now that I've kind of overcome my anxiety about having other people work with me, maybe now I can actually do something, you know. For Was That in Good Taste, I've been working on show notes. I've been working with Chandler, who's been absolutely great. I've had people that I love and care about come on in these podcasts. And, you know, I remember even 2 years ago, people were like, can I be on your podcast? And I'm like, no. You know, I was so ashamed and so shy about doing it, you know. And now that after years now getting comfortable, I guess it's time for me to really get started. It's time for me to actually do this. It's time for me to actually decide that this is my job. And when I lost my job last time, I remember I spoke to Alex Bondrev of Conversing with Oceans, who does the intro and outro of this podcast. And I remember saying to him, like, you know, because I have enough money in my unemployment, I'm not going to look for a job right now. And I'm going to try to make this my full-time job. But I didn't. Instead, I just let myself get kind of depressed, and I did nothing. Now, there is a possibility, an opportunity for me to grow. And I need to make it happen. I need to do this, and it requires effort. It requires passion, but it also requires a little bit of confidence in myself, and I've never had that. I've always fled away from any kind of genuine confrontation because I do not know if I can handle being a letdown or failing again. And because of that, I've never succeeded at anything. I have never finished anything. And this has just become a thing that I do. But the passion has to exist inside of me somewhere. The want to do this, to be the best, has to exist inside of me. I'm just too scared to actually do it. Too damn scared. But I think I can do it. It seems scary, it seems hard, but I really am ready to admit that I want to do this. I'm really ready to make this thing that I do my full-time job, and I'm not going to allow my insecurities and my fear of failure let me down, because even if I do fail, for once, I would just like to be able to say, I tried. I couldn't have even come to this possibility, to this understanding, to this moment of growth, if it weren't for you. If it wasn't for really the few people who from the very beginning supported me. And I don't have any Patreons, but my mother stopped listening because she thought it'd be weird, but she did like to listen. She was supporting me, and she still downloads every episode if she doesn't listen. Okay? Sarah has always been there, and every single episode she downloads and she listens to, and she's been an absolute force of support since day one. Some of my newer friends like Grace, and of course, obviously Christina, and we all know that the amazing anonymous Cheryl of no last name, of non-existence, has been an absolute support of me and of this before I even did this, for over 4 years, or just under 4 years, about 4 years, And of course, my grandfather, who, he's a little bit of an asshole about it, but he definitely knew that I could do more. Alex Bondarev, who has always been amazing, with so much support and with so much affirmation. It's time for me to start paying these people back. It's time for me to start paying you back. So thank you. And remember, if you want to reach out, Twitter, The Art of Giving Up, The Art of Giving Up, DA, Art of Giving Up. Instagram, Art of Giving Up. Facebook, because I couldn't change the name to what I wanted it to be, because the Facebook is now going to be the home for The Art of Giving Up and Was That in Good Taste, the Facebook is now The Art of Good Taste. Suck it up. That's what it is. Look it up. And of course, Art of Giving Up podcast at gmail.com. And as always, I'm your host, Steven. Peace.
It's strange what desire will make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. Yeah, I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No. But